Hello everybody, welcome to Attitudes with Andy on tour in England. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have a very wonderful guest, Mr. Tom Holmes, who is the founder of Tom's Trunks. This is a £1 million side hustle that he started when he was 14 years old. For the conversion rate, that's around $2 million, so it's very impressive. He is only 22 years old, but has built such an empire whilst going to boarding school and then uni, and now he's doing it full time. So today we're going to be breaking down how he started it, all the lessons he's learnt, and maybe some advice for all the entrepreneurs out there who want to start something, but maybe have a few hurdles and everything in between. So welcome, Tom.
Thank you so much, Andy, and it is so great to finally be on Attitudes with Andy. But yeah, awesome. No, thank you so much for having us.
Of course. Thanks for making the time. The whole day today I've been like, Tom, seriously, let's do it.
Yeah, no, I do apologise.
Okay, so...
The hours just move.
Yeah, no, business things, you know. Okay, so first question I have, just for some context for everybody who's listening, like your brand is really big in England. In Australia, it's not as big at the moment. It will be. But just, how would you describe Tom's Trunks for anybody?
You know, so for the listeners, so Tom's Trunks originally started after a trip to Kenya where I was inspired by a material called kikoi, and that's a traditional Kenyan or East African fabric, 100% cotton. And so basically our product, we make shorts or trousers that are brightly coloured stripes, is really the simplest way to put it. And to some people they look like tea towels, some people they look like pyjamas. To us they look great and I love them and they're super comfy. But I think the main thing is that they're just like sort of loungers, just chill out in them, super comfy, and that's what we're all about. It's just that having a really comfy product.
Yeah, they're so comfy. And if you're watching, Tom is wearing them now.
Had to get a bit of promo in the video, so these hitting Australia big time this year.
Yes, absolutely. So when you were 14, you were 14, right?
Yeah, that's
when
right.
You started. Okay, so what was your like mindset around like what made you want to be like, I'm just going to try to sell these?
So I always like get asked this question of like, why would a 14-year-old want to start a business? And I think the best way to sum it up is no one else was doing it. So I was like, right, let's try and do something that no one else was good at, like no one else was doing. And I found I wasn't super intelligent, wasn't that good at sport. Like I didn't really have anything I was good at. So I kind of thought, well, what can I be good at that no one else my age was doing? So I basically like chose a benchmark that no one else was doing so I could like try and like just be good at something, or at least try. So that was kind of the initial idea of like what inspired my kind of like motive to like want to do business. But then also the idea that originally stemmed from being in Kenya, like on an absolutely amazing holiday, and just saw the product and I thought, this is absolutely amazing. Why don't I just start selling it? And it just kind of all fitted into place, and that's kind of what made me want to start. Is two things really: love of the product, and also kind of a personal objective to try and like have something that I could do, like not be like the class clown all the time, not be like an idiot, actually be able to achieve something, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel like you've always had such an entrepreneurial kind of mindset, or you're always very savvy.
Yeah, no, I feel like I do love, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but I love the idea of profit. So I think in terms of like making something have more value from the energy that you put in is like, I think really, really special. And I do just love selling. Like, I think there's nothing more exciting. I know like, Andy, you're a super enthusiastic person, and you are also, I'm sure, a great salesperson. But it's so exciting, like convincing someone to do something that they don't want to do. I think that's how I see selling as, it's like persuading someone to do something they didn't necessarily want to do.
Or they didn't know that they needed it, and then you're like,
exactly, yeah. So I think that's kind of where it stems from.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because most people at 14 are like not even thinking about that. So when you first started, did you ever think it would get this big?
I think no, if I'm honest, no, I didn't. And I never thought I'd still be 22, still running it, and kind of then working out how I can scale the business, having like an amazing team behind me. I never thought it was going to get to this stage. And also it's now really exciting because it's like now I'm thinking, well, where can it go next? And so at 14, I literally thought, right, I'm going to do this. And like in the UK, we have things called like GCSEs. I don't know what they're the equivalent of.
Yeah, it's like in year 9 and 10 you guys do big exams, and they're quite hectic and important in England. In Australia we don't really have anything hectic in year 9 or 10. Fair
enough. Okay, so yeah, these big exams, and as I said, like not super smart, so I was like, right, in that summer after these exams you get like a really long summer in the UK, and I was like, right, I'm going to make sure like we can hit some really big numbers. And like for me then, and I still think like I still find it staggering how like the business has grown. But that was like so exciting when you hit those numbers, and that was like one of the most like fun points. But I always thought it was just going to get to that point, and then I'd be like, right, I've kind of done that. Let's do something else now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of I never thought it'd be like here, but then again, it's also been what's like pushed me through so much, and I've loved it. It is, in my opinion, like the dream job.
I love it. Yeah, you're built to be a businessman. The way your brain works, and like you never switch off.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good and a bad thing. I actually do never switch off, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love always being.
I remember like last year or the year before we were in Norfolk, and you actually did have you had like a week off. I say off, you weren't really off. And then you were like, you said afterwards to me, you were like, do you know what? I actually just really enjoy working. You were like, I think I would have had more fun working.
Yeah, I actually do. Like, I think it's probably really bad. I would definitely say I'm a complete workaholic. I think that's like, especially when I was like at uni. Well, I didn't actually go to uni when I was doing my apprenticeship and like working full time. Like, what actually made the work enjoyable was actually working for the brand in the evening.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, of course, there's bad days and there's like stuff that's challenging, and things go up and down. But it's super rewarding. And I think when it's growing, I think, as I said, disclaimer, it's not always good, but it is so much fun, and I do love it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back to school. You started it when you were 14, and then you went to boarding school.
Yeah.
How did you kind of manage all of that, like managing school life and doing the business?
So in terms of, at that point, the business was really small. So after I had like a really good friend of mine, he was like, it's not really a business, it's a Depop account. So I don't know, is Depop big in Australia or?
It's actually starting to go off, yeah.
Okay, right. So like Depop was like pretty big. It still is like really big.
Yeah.
And my friends were just like, Tom, it's basically a Depop account. And I used to find that really offensive. I was like, no, it's not. It's like, I want it to be something much bigger than that. It's like a brand. And but at the end of the day, that's what it was. It wasn't massive. I think we were like sending out 13 orders a day. So.
But that's still pretty good for like at such a young age.
And it was like we had no ad spend. When we still we've only like brought in paid ads this year. Wow. So we had like completely organic. Well, not organic. We had like influencers and stuff. But yeah. And at that point, it was literally just I would do it during lessons. So because I was like not very intelligent, I was able to wamble around to say that I needed a laptop. When I first started this boarding school, it was quite traditional. They were like, no, you can't use laptops. So that actually really, really upset me, because I was like, that's basically like my route to be able to work. And like, that was like my passion. So I'd sit in lessons and literally just do stuff. Like, I learned how to build websites, and it was like before Shopify was really getting big. So I think I did it in WordPress. So it was like, oh my gosh. So it was, I mean, it's still really easy, like, but it was like really fun learning. I'd literally sit in like different lessons doing that. So I'd say the best education was YouTube, like 100%.
Yeah, true.
So that's kind of how I manage it. And also, like, my friends are amazing. So I'd have one of my friends that used to say it's just a Depop shop was really good on Depop, and he would then like follow people on Depop, like mass follow. Yeah. And that just pushed the sales, and then that was like.
Oh, so good.
But that volume, like, it was so small that it was like much more manageable. Yeah. I would say I much preferred actually running the business then than I do now.
Why is that?
I just think, when you get more volume and more people, suddenly the responsibility like becomes a bit more, and you can't just do something and it can be wrong, because it's like the consequence. So like the consequence of like writing a policy that's wrong now is going to be much bigger financially than if you're doing 13 orders a day, and it's there for like a week, and maybe like I don't know, 70 customers get angry. It's very different if there's like 900 customers getting angry or whatever. Yeah. So that's probably why.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so 14, did that, and then just sort of continued to do it for school. And I have like, I would always say this, like, I would never ever be able to do it without my mum and my sisters, because they would be like the ones pushing sales, as well as like my mum would pack the orders up. I would then send, like, I would create all the labels for her, and she would then just print them out, send them out, and she did a lot. And I think that's, so in a sense, like, it's definitely not all me. It's, I think that's also the thing I see a lot around, like, because I obviously like listen to podcasts, I listen to like look at lots of different like business people, and I do always think I've had like a bit of a like I'm really fortunate to have the case that I have got a super supportive family, like the facilities around me to be able to do what I can do, and that's kind of why I really want to make sure that I do deliver and really create a great brand, but also do great stuff. Yeah. So during that age, like, I would very heavily reliant on like my mum doing stuff, and then like there was points there when the school were getting a bit pissed off that I was doing it. Really? Yeah, they hated it. They were like, no, you can't do it.
Oh, now they're probably bragging about you.
Yeah, and like now I'm laying on their like page and stuff, and they really hated me doing that, because they were like, you know, you're here to get an education. You're not here to be. And they wouldn't.
Turns out you're learning way more from running a business. Than
Exactly, and
at school.
And they just did not like it. I think, you know, obviously in boarding schools they don't want people like selling stuff or like, because it's instantly like related to, you know, people think they're selling alcohol or stuff like that. Whereas literally I was selling like lounge pants.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing exciting. Well, they are super exciting, but nothing is like
nothing rebellious.
Badass as that.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point like, they were like, no, you shouldn't be doing it. So we would have ways of like, that's why we like built our first websites. I was like, well, they're not buying them here, they're buying them online. And that was like my get round of, that's like actually what started the like motive.
Oh, so were people at your school buying them?
People at school were buying them, people at like, then, so what we did is like around different schools we'd send out stuff.
I love this so much.
To get other schools like on board, because it's quite like a distinctive product. It's a very obvious product. So then, and then we'd send stuff to influencers and stuff like that, and then that would push it. So, but we'd like, a lot of the sales were initially like through friends, through family. And like, it's really important, and because we were like very lean, we didn't have loads of costs, so that's what enabled us to just keep investing back in.
Yeah.
So so yeah, but no, when I was like 15, 16, that was when we started selling to more and more like people that I didn't know.
That's so cool.
Which is really exciting. I think that's the most exciting thing, is you like look on the orders, and I used to like literally look on the orders every day, and actually I still do. I always like have a quick skim.
Yeah.
Because it's super awkward if a friend orders and they go like, oh, I just ordered someone, like, if you don't know, you feel like really distance from the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like school. It was, I hated school, so it was like, right, I want to get this essay done so I can
It probably helped you, like, during school.
I definitely think it did, yeah. Like, I don't think I'd have finished school if I didn't do it.
Yeah, wow.
Because it was like, at least I've got this in the bag.
What didn't you like about school?
I don't know the concept of someone telling you need to know this. I much prefer the concept of having a problem and solving it. But I think now I like really do value education. I think I was just an immaturity probably.
Yeah.
Also I literally cannot spell. So if you've ever like text me.
Yeah, you can't.
Because like, and people always say like, I'm really bad on my phone. And the reason is I see it as work, texting, or like making a message. Now I have started doing like voice messages and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but then
they're so good.
They are so good.
But then you send like 2 minutes worth, you're like, oops.
And then you think actually you've spent wasted 2 minutes of someone's time. So yeah, I think that's it. Is just like really just motivates me. And I think whereas school just kind of, as soon as someone tells you to do something, do you want to do it? No. It's like law. Everyone wants to break the law and do stuff. But
not that we're condoning that.
No. Definitely not. But yeah, so I think that's, I know, like, as I said, it wasn't smart and wasn't particularly sporty, and it just kind of, I didn't really find anything in school that was like super fun.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose the only bit you enjoyed was the social side.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because you have good friends.
Yeah.
In school. Okay.
I think, and I would never be able to do what I do without my friends. I mean, like, very much like a lifestyle brand. We are, and all of our team are great mates as well, so it's really nice.
Yeah. So then when you finished school, what did you do after that?
So when I finished school, I then went to work for Morrison's, which is the third largest supermarket in the UK. And I wasn't working in the supermarket, I was working in their manufacturing department. So they own a load of factories that will make their stuff that they sell in the supermarket. And I was actually working in floristry. And
which is why we have all these beautiful flowers.
Yeah, why we have flowers. I still love flowers to this day. It's nuts.
He's a nerd.
So yeah, I'm basically now a flower nerd. Absolutely, like if I'm honest, I absolutely loved it. I remember it was being really tough, but I loved the challenge of it, and I loved the idea that it was like I had to prove myself as well, and I had to go and find out stuff to be able to like deliver on what I was doing. So I did that for 3 years, and that was like an apprenticeship, and they paid for my uni. So obviously, you mentioned like being a bit savvy, like I was not going to pay whatever it is to pay for uni.
But like, what made you? Did you actually want to go do that?
No, I think age like 18, you're always kind of inflicted a bit on what your parents want, and I think actually it was the right decision to do that.
Really?
Yeah. So I really do thank my parents. So I wanted to go do Tom's Trunks full time. I was like, right, we had really good like sales. I was like, right, I can go do this.
Yeah.
But now when I look back, if I'd done that, I would have never been in a position to grow it.
Wow.
I really like, and this is, I just learned so much from other people. And if it's not your money, it's way better to lend learn the stuff.
Yeah, so true.
It's even things like, you know, like HR stuff, like you never think about it, but then you need to have it if you're going to grow a team. So I worked there and just kind of like worked within different roles, and actually they're an amazing team, like super supportive and very supportive in a good way. I always said like feedback, if people only give you positive feedback, it's really bad feedback, whereas there was always really constructive feedback, but it was hard. Like I remember my first day, I wore a suit, and obviously it was probably a bit naive, and I didn't really get the dress code, and it was actually into a factory.
Oh no!
So I was wearing a
Must look
suit,
like
and
a tosser.
I remember it, and I just thought, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. And I get in the factory, and one of the workers goes, "Are you the boss's son?" And then he's like, "You need to get on the line and like actually make the bouquets of flowers." And I was doing that for 6 months, just popping a stem on a line.
In a suit every day?
No.
So on the first day you were in a suit making flowers. What a humbling experience.
I know.
When you're like, I could literally be paying myself from my own company.
And that's always what I found so challenging. But I think that's also a really wrong way to look at it, because I could, with like online businesses, you don't need to be there to do it. So the experience I was getting was so much more valuable. And I remember a lot of like even business mentors would be like, "Why are you not working your own thing?" And you're like working for like, you know, this amount of money when you could be earning this much in your own business.
Yeah.
But no one can really put a value on experience. And actually, like I think some things like building a website, like working at logistics and all that stuff, designing a product, you can learn on YouTube. You can't learn how to lead on YouTube.
So true.
And I think you just have to either be led or like be seeing other leaders around.
Because you were in a leadership position, weren't you? You were managing people.
Like at the end I was managing people. So yeah, I was like a team manager, had like 45 people under me, but not under me, like we worked together, and they would teach me so much. Like, I was definitely out of my depth, and that's I remember like doing jobs that I was way out of my depth, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was the best way, because you learn, and you're like sort of waking up at 5 a.m. stressing, thinking, what are you doing? And like, yeah, it's hard on your body, but
I remember seeing you in that time, and I was worried about you. I was like, this man needs a holiday.
It was. I felt really unhealthy. That's one thing I love now, is I felt like from that to now, I still like work hard, but that was like stupid. Like that was 18-hour days, including like the hours I was doing the business. Like
it was cooked. Like you wouldn't even go for a run or something. Yeah. You were like, I don't have time.
I literally had no time. Like I got so bad, so I'd like plan. So if I was driving, I'd plan like back-to-back calls. So every meeting would be in the car. Then I'd get in and I'd be like desk, just sit there. I wouldn't eat and stuff like that. It was just like relentless, but I love it. And I think that attitude is really important as well to have.
Do you look back on your time and are you proud of that? Like, not proud as in that you burnt yourself to the ground, but are you proud that you managed to run Tom's Trunks and do your apprenticeship / uni full time?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I'm more proud that I finished the uni and the apprenticeship.
Yeah, it's huge.
The running the Tom's Trunks was like, because I'd been doing that before, in a sense I knew I could do that. I didn't know I could like do a degree in it and then also work. And actually, like what I was working as, it was so challenging but so good that it was, so I'm super proud that I've done that. And as I said, it's like a vital part of my life. Like I will always really value, like, I don't think I can give enough. So like I had this amazing education earlier on in my life, but the people that were just like what I was working with and for were actually great leaders, even if, you know, they were a bit harsh at points.
Yeah.
But I think that's really important. And actually, I was thinking about it recently when I was told we had unfortunately like a leaver in the business, and they were like, it's just sorry? Like a leaver, so someone like left the business.
Oh right.
On their own accord, our business, Tom's Trunks.
Yeah.
And we did like the exit interview, and we were asking them, like, what do they think? Why are they leaving? On what basis? Yeah. And they're just like, at some points, like a bit too friendly. Oh. And I found it really interesting feedback to kind of like have that on me, as I was like, you know what? I never felt like it was friendly at Morrison's. I always felt on like tender hooks, and that's not for everyone. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, definitely. Some people do not perform like that. Yeah. But probably actually for some jobs, you do just need to be told what to do and just do it. Okay. And people don't want to be messed around. And like, if anyone who listens to this and has worked with me, they'll realise that I'm very laissez-faire on my timings and stuff like that. So yeah, in a sense. What do you mean laissez-faire? Like just very free on. Oh right, yeah. When things can happen. I mean, yeah, this podcast, for example.
So what would be your kind of key takeaways that you learned about leading people in
So in that
Morrison's?
period, in the period between like when I was like in Morrison's?
With Morrison's, yeah. Or just what you've learned in leadership in general. Because they say it's like one of the hardest things to do.
I'm still learning. I'm definitely not there. I think that, yeah, I'm really like, that's the one thing I feel is like my biggest weakness is actually being able to like give really clear instructions. So I often think like, and that's the one thing that someone in my team said to me is like, you need to think about the language you use. So it was a bit like saying in a factory, you're doing tasks that aren't that fun. So if you ask someone, please, can you do this? Most likely they're going to go no. So it's about saying, I'd like you to do this now. So a bit more like that sounds, when I say it like that, it sounds really bad. Or I would like you to do this, please. It's just like the way you word things and like stuff like that, for me, I found was a really good learning.
Yeah.
Because I never thought about stuff like that before.
Yeah.
I never thought about the language that I was using. I just thought,
No, it's
just do it.
powerful. What I notice is my boss will always say like, oh, we've been offered this, or we're going to this, or you know what I mean? Like he'll always use we as in, and then it makes you feel like you're part of a team instead of like, I've been offered this, what do you think? It's like, we've been offered this, what do you think? And then it makes you feel so much more like inclusive. So I really like
yeah,
that.
I think that's such good. I actually was chatting to someone recently about how you can like give someone negative feedback. And he explained to me, it was like, in the company, it's not about you, Tom, it's about the company. So if someone, like for example, replies to an email in a way that you don't feel is right, it's not like, why have you done this? It's like, how have you let this happen to us? Or why have we done that? In the sense that it's going back to that thing of like the we. Because it doesn't say like, look, you've done it wrong. It's saying this reflects really badly on us as a collective.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I don't know what else in the leadership terms. I think lead by example. I think that's the biggest thing I learned. Is people like watch what other people are doing and like, yeah, just have good discipline, have good routine, and stand true to like your non-negotiables as well. That's actually something I nicked from another podcast, but I do believe like you've got to have clear discipline and like clear things.
Yeah. Has it kind of made you step up your game since like getting staff, because you're like, I need to be on top of stuff so that then they can be on top of stuff?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think like when you're not, you feel really shit. Like you just feel really behind. So I definitely feel like now I need to make sure that I can do, and also like I want them to be part of something that's so much bigger.
Yeah.
Because I think we're still a really small business, and it's a big risk for someone to come and work for someone like us because it's small. It's not like you're going to work for, you know, like Zara.
But is it a risk? Because you're going to learn so much. You're going to see every single...
That's exactly what I say, and obviously you know, I sell it to people because I think it's so good to come work for a smaller company. But I obviously want them to also be like, I want them to like 5 years down the line say, I did this in Tom's Trunks, and then everyone goes, oh wow, wait, you were involved at that point?
Yeah.
And that's like, and I want everyone to be really proud of it. So
yeah, they can be like, I did that myself. Like how I started the Instagram page.
Yeah, exactly, you did. I still remember that. I must admit, Andy, the posts early on are like pretty dodgy, aren't they? They're like a picture of like folded trousers.
Oh no.
But I still listen to your content advice, Andy.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, I think leadership, and I'm still so young, I do think leadership comes with a lot of experience. And I definitely think you can train leadership. I think, you know, it's, so yeah.
Okay, cool. So then you had Morrison's, and then you graduated when?
So graduated in last summer, and then worked in a role in Morrison's for like 6 months.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Because, if I'm honest, I was actually loving it. I found it really rewarding.
Which bit that you found?
The responsibility. And you know how I was saying in Norfolk, like, I love work. I did love the whole idea that like this was something I was responsible for. And I was working on a project, and there's an amazing lady actually in my team at that point who kind of, I found I was learning so much from her, and she was always really like brutal. Like I still stay in touch with her, and she is still so brutal. But it was so helpful that I found like I just need to keep on doing this.
What's something that you remember that she said?
I think it was just like, I'm really disorganized, and we often like refer in our team, I think business is basically just being organized. Like if you stay on top of things, easy. So she was just like very like pick up on things if I miss things or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me feel like, right, I don't miss that. You don't do that.
Yeah.
I think more like the key of planning. That was, I never used to plan. I still don't really plan enough. But like, you know, like for example, like saying you need to do a daily task list, all this stuff. I used to just do what would come up
Yeah.
because I was used to being like so busy. And like obviously when you're at school, you just get given tasks. And then when in the business, I was just given tasks because every day there'd be more emails coming in that I'd have to action. So she like taught me how to be like more clear on what I wanted to achieve each day.
Yeah.
And then the day-to-day firefighting was just stuff that you would try and pass off to someone else rather than me doing it.
Right. Delegation.
Delegation, exactly.
My friends say delegate to elevate. Quite like
And
that one.
I really like that. I really, really like that. I'm really bad at delegation as well.
Why is that?
It goes back to that thing of not being super clear on instructions.
So then you're like, oh, I can just do it myself.
Yeah,
instead
and
of
it's like it's going to
explaining
take so long to explain, and that's
Yeah.
just like my critical language isn't good enough yet, but I'm getting there.
it. Yeah. Because I can understand the theory behind that, but then it's like you put more effort into explaining it one time, but then they'll know it for all the other times.
Yeah, exactly. So you may as well let them do it.
Yeah.
I think as well as it's like timing. You also look at things and go, no, I just want it done now, because if it's like in our business, we often find that it's because I don't plan enough.
We're
There's-
exposing all your flaws.
I know. We will do something that isn't like if for example it's like uploading something onto a spreadsheet or something, I may need to do that to finish the task I need to do. So I'm like, why am I just going to email someone to do it? But yeah, if we plan more, then I could say that's your task for that day, and then I'll do it the next day. So yeah.
So you worked at Morrison's for 6 months after you finished.
Yeah.
And so what, beginning of this year, you decided
yeah.
to go full?
December this year, full time. Well, actually
December.
January, 1st of January was my first day.
Oh my
Working.
God. How did that feel?
It felt so weird. Like I felt for my first 3 months, I was so unproductive. Like it was so weird.
Were you actually being unproductive, or were you just used to being like, go, go, go?
I was used to like, having really clear things and like seeing things happen. So you'd have like meetings and then things would happen, and then it would be like
What, in Morrison's?
in Morrison's,
Yeah,
and then in Tom's Trunks, I was more like I'd do things and it'd just be like, oh, now this has happened, need to sort this out. And also, I was probably not that disciplined, probably enjoying the life too much, so not being like super focused. And also the business has grown a lot, so we still haven't really expanded our team enough. So we've gone from like last year we did kind of like £500,000 turnover to this year doing £1 million turnover, and like this year right
Doubles
now
it. That's insane.
we've already doubled it already. So which is great, and it's like I don't think for me my business is not about numbers.
Yeah.
But in terms of volume, it is like in an operational side of things, it is. So I felt I was doing a lot of just firefighting or like sorting out issues.
But it must be satisfying seeing it grow.
Yeah, I love it. I love the growth, but I'd also love to see the growth and like the improvement.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we'll start getting everything to come through, is once you get improvement and growth.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, you know, that doesn't sound very good for potential customers. Our product is still brilliant and it always has been brilliant, but like I want to have new lines, I want to do more stuff.
Definitely.
I don't just want to be like managing the moving ship.
Yeah, because you're also creative. So I feel
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you might-
That's what I find at the moment, is I just have no time to do like the stuff I actually enjoy, which is like drawing and creating new products and experimenting stuff. So yeah.
So how big is your team at the moment?
So we've got 5 people, but all of them are students
That's insane.
and like work part-time.
Oh, so you have no full time?
No full-time right now. I did have one full-time person and they've left. So literally, and
That's insane.
people do think like it's really nuts, but we literally have automated most of our like tasks,
That's
which
huge.
is really good. And I think we want to continue to do that. But then again, it's harder to now automate when we're getting bigger, because some things then there's like bugs in it, and it's actually just quicker just to say, right, we'll pay someone to do that. And then it's always done.
Yeah. So do you have any like mentors who help kind of give you advice and stuff?
Yeah, I've got like 2 mentors, and actually I need to lean on more on my mentors in terms of like go and speak to them. But I think the whole mentorship thing is really important. And it's also the best, quickest way to learn. So like one challenge I've had recently is, so obviously all our team is part-time. It's worked really well up until now, I'd say. Whereas suddenly we're like doing things and we're getting late and we're all not quite working properly because everyone's trying to do a bit of everything, but we've got no experts or experience. And I was like, well, how do I actually go around like building a team of full-time people? Because it's quite easy to recruit someone to do like an email and say, right, you're being paid, I don't know, £15 an hour to do that task, and then once you finish it, you're done. So you just work your hours. Whereas then you've got to work out, right, that is your role, that's your responsibility, do the whole task all in.
Oh, so like it's more have separate roles.
Yeah, more have separate roles. Whereas we used to just like pick off one person do this, one person do that.
Okay, so there's going to be like new people coming in, maybe.
Yeah, so I hope. Well, the plan is going to have an ops manager coming in, which is really exciting, in sort of July time, and they will be managing like event side and kind of like day-to-day operations, and then Rain's a marketing like person. But I basically want people with experience to come in and just like bring ideas, because I literally still watch YouTube videos. Like I was like watching YouTube video on like how to use like Notion to do like KPI tracking.
Oh my
and
gosh,
stuff like
Notion! I don't like Notion. There's too much there.
I don't get it. I honestly, but
I don't get it
today is going to be my Notion day. I'm going to get it sorted and just sort it all out. But yeah, it's. I think there's only so much YouTube can do, and it just becomes inefficient. Like for me to be trying to learn everything, because what is actually the point of me trying to know everything in the business when let's try and spread the load and then give people responsibility. Definitely. And actually, it's so great seeing like the team like take responsibility and accountability. Like, for example, we had an intern last year who stayed on and working like part time, and he designed with me a product that's been one of our best selling products. And it's like so great to see him feel so responsible for it. Yeah. So it's not like just me. So then it does really become that point of like where it is us, rather than where it's like I work for Tom, so Tom can sell more trunks. Yeah. I work in Tom's trunks, but we're achieving this all together. And when the business grows, we grow. Like that's literally how I see it.
So this is a bit off topic, but you've obviously been doing this since you're 14, and in England, genuinely, they are so big. I see them all the time, and I send photos to you. I'm like, spotted. But what's it like, kind of always being known as like the Tom Trunks guy?
That's a tough question, because actually I actually hate it because I've done it for quite a long time. And also, I think a lot of people are in the UK, so we're not massive yet. We're like really not massive. But for like one product, we've sold quite a lot of one product, and I don't really like everything that goes with it in the sense of like what people think the product's about. But I sometimes do think my personality has become like Tom's Trunks. That's why I really enjoy working for Morrison's. And I was like, no, that's just like a small part of what I do. Yeah.
Because I think I spoke to you maybe last year or the year before, because I was just like, I hope you don't like value yourself from being like Tom's Trunks. Like if you decided tomorrow that you just want to pack up, sell it, and like move on, would you feel like you're less valuable? Does that make sense? Like you're not less valuable, but you know when people tie their identities to what they're doing?
Yeah, I think there's definitely points when I do feel like, because I am like, as I said, a bit of a workaholic, like I do literally live for it. There's points, and I think that's probably what will ultimately like make me want to do something different. It would be like, right, I need to change up my like personal brand. But I used to really hate it, and now I just kind of, I feel like I need to embrace it more. And hopefully like my close friends do know that it's not all I'm about.
100%. So, there's so much to you.
So and obviously with it being my name, it is like quite obvious. And that's what it means so much to me, is like anything that we do, if it's not like spot on perfect, it is like, I feel like it's, people then think it's me. They're like, oh, you did that. It's not. So yeah, it is probably at points too connected. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question, because I think it's not like where you just sell, like a manufacturing company selling anything, and you've got your name, like my name is on it, and it's our product. It's like named after me. So yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment where you're like, fuck this, I don't want to do it anymore?
Yeah, regularly.
Really?
Yeah, I think.
I've heard that that's quite normal.
Really?
I've heard like business people talk about that on their, I'm going British, I've heard that. Like on podcasts, I've heard people be like, yeah, regularly I'll be like, what am I doing? Or what is this? Do you experience that?
I've had it more recently. I was just thinking, You know what? It'd be so fun right now just to go traveling. Like you live very freely, in my opinion, Miranda or Andy.
Fast and loose.
Where you will just like go and do stuff, go experience new things. I feel at the moment very tired. Like I went away on holiday and we didn't have Wi-Fi for like 4 days, and I felt honestly lost. I was like,
whoa.
I felt like really just awful. I was like, right, I can't contact anyone, can't do anything. And so I think at some points I'm like, oh, this is just a nightmare.
Did that kind of make you reflect and being like, ooh, why am I feeling this way?
No, it made me reflect that our team wasn't big enough and I didn't have enough, like I hadn't delegated enough.
Right, because you were like, I should be able to go on holiday and things still move.
Yeah, I think, so like the business isn't uber profitable, but it's quite a profitable business. And I was speaking to one of my business mentors and they were like, well, what's the point in making that much money if you can't go on holiday?
So true.
And actually I really do agree with that. Like I think if your business can't run without you there, it's not a business. It's just you working. That's my view at the moment. Is it's literally we just need to work out how we can make it into like an organisation of people all wanting the same thing.
Yeah, because how cool would it be if you could build it to a point where like you literally could just leave it and it will just keep going and keep booming, and then you can come in and out.
I think that's like that is the ultimate goal. And that's based off really great people.
Yeah.
But also and that goes back to the lead by example. I think you have got to be there for elements, but you don't need to be there and do every role. So you can change your style where you're there more of a support and like with the ideas, but you're not the one doing the do. Because also what you can find doing the do, yeah. In terms of you like find, let's say I do something, if I do it wrong and I'm trying to train someone up to do it, that just makes them not trust you. So actually sometimes doing everything isn't the best way if you're not an expert in everything.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that was my main thing. Is I was like, I think once we get the team sorted and everything like that, and when I can like go and have a weekend and not worry about it, that's my.
Definitely, I feel like you've never really.
Yeah, but I kind of love that.
Yeah, you're very, very go.
Yeah.
Your whole family.
We are.
I love it. Okay, so now you're doing it full time.
Yeah.
So we love that. I had a question in my head, and now it's just left.
Don't worry.
It's just gone. It's left my brain. We were talking about delegation
and team. How big our team was.
Team having time off.
Relaxing.
That's what I'm doing.
Relax.
Yeah, I'm living my best life on a holiday. Okay. And so for people. Oh yes, I remember what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for like a really long time. Well, yeah. I feel it's.
Yeah, no, it is. I feel like it's a massive chunk. It's nearly half my life.
Nearly half your life. What? Yeah. What?
Yeah. No.
Well, no.
It is. I've been doing. I'm 22, and I've done it. Been doing it eight and a half years.
Oh yeah.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. A long time. Okay, so a lot of people will kind of like start something and then be like, this isn't really working, it's not really going. Whereas like you picked something, saw it had a little bit of momentum, and then just like kept going, and then it snowballed. What kind of advice would you give for people who kind of are like the hoppers, like who have shiny object syndrome and just go to the next new thing but never in there long enough?
I have like quite a strong opinion on this, and I don't necessarily think it's right. And like my business is definitely not super successful yet or anything like that. But I always try and explain to people, and they go, "Oh, like you've done really well," and it's like like means a lot when someone says that to me. But what I realize is I've been doing this 8 years organically growing. In our first 4 years, like I think our turnover was like £20,000. Like it was as a total in our first 4 years. So it's like very minimal.
Whoa!
Like it was tiny, and
yeah.
I was only able to do that because I was at school. Like I wasn't dependent on the cash.
Yeah.
So like now I've got like the knowledge, and I feel like I'd be able to scale something much quicker. But I think you can't think of like instant satisfaction. You've really just got to be focused on like the more long term, what you actually want to achieve. I also think if you're doing like this whole shiny object thing where you're like going, oh my god, I'm making so much money in drop shipping, and then like you try and do it. If everyone's doing it, it's going to be much more competitive. So try and do something that someone else isn't doing is usually the way I'd go at it. But yeah, I think I have stuck at it a long time. And I'm usually quite like a flighty person in the sense of like...
You are?
like do lots of different stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I think that's why it might like get you excited because there's tons of different things to do within the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I respect your dedication. It's very impressive.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
It's a long time. Okay, so I was speaking to somebody and they were like, I think I'm a entrepreneur. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, it's where you want to be an entrepreneur, but then you don't know what to start, or they're like kind of overwhelmed by too many options that they just don't do anything. What advice would you have for those people?
A entrepreneur. I love that term.
Entrepreneur.
I don't even classify myself as an entrepreneur.
Do you not?
No.
Why? Why?
I have this classification that to be an entrepreneur, you got to have made 100 million.
Pounds or dollars?
Pounds.
Okay, so well, the entrepreneurs listening to this are like, damn it.
But I think once you have the idea and you know it, you want to do it. And to be an entrepreneur, you can literally, like, to start, not be an entrepreneur, but to be like start your own business. You can do anything, even if it's like literally mowing a lawn or anything like that. Like, you just got to do it. And actually, my view, just get off your ass and do it. Like, to set up a Shopify store takes, no joke, 1 hour. Like, invest the time into actually what matters, not into like chasing and then wanting to watch like a movie. Like, to think one movie you could set up a website that could make you like, well, my website did not take an hour to make, but the basis of it can do, and it can then fuel your life. I think Elon Musk said, use your weekends. Don't live for the weekends. Use your weekends to make the life you dream, or something. I can't really remember it.
I like the premises of that.
I don't think I've nailed it quite to the T.
Use the weekends wisely, so then you can live the life you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Quote Andy Bentley.
Quote there. Yeah. So that'd be my view, is just literally get stuck in. But yeah.
And that was everything for Attitudes with Andy. Thank you, Tom, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you.
Sad relief.
No, it's right. He's a busy businessman. I'll plug all of Tom's trunks details in the show notes.
Go get some awesome trunks, and hopefully any Aussies out there will see it splendid in the grass.
Splendid in the grass. Thanks, guys. Bye. Oh, wait, I need to do the... If you enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share it around on Instagram, TikTok, all the things. Press subscribe and leave a review. Love you all. See you next week. Bye.